That evening when they returned back to the guild house, they immediately started celebrating with drinks all around. Errol was still shocked at the fact that the loli was old enough to drink, but she claimed that she is a grown woman. Even if she looks a little small, she still can't believe that Errol single-handedly defeated 5 ranked swordsmen of the best guild in the country all alone. She decides that she must try to woo him as he is her ticket to get out of poverty and obscurity. She tries to ask his hand in marriage, claiming that she can fulfill all his desires. But Errol is a true Sigma and rejects her outright, claiming that he would prefer someone like Ray instead. This immediately makes Ray blush, as she gets up from her seat, yelling at Errol to stop saying shit like that, just because he wants to turn Loli down. But Errol was seriously considering it. He asks why she would think that he is making fun of her, and she replies that when they were young, he called her a man during the sword fight. She claims that anyone who met her has said that she has no womanly charms, but Errol can see 2 big womanly charms right there in front of him and begs to differ. Loli realizes that Ray has absolutely no idea what her biggest strength is and how exactly she could use it, so she doesn't really need to worry about her. With that, she starts rubbing Errol's legs, claiming that he must be tired from all the fighting during the day, and tells him to meet her in the bedroom. Ray immediately gets embarrassed, telling Loli to stop saying weird things, but the Loli smiles slyly, claiming that she is just going to give him a well-deserved massage after a tiring day. To her surprise though, Errol replies that he would rather have a massage from Ray. His idea of a massage was getting pummeled to a pulp by Ray in the training ground as he tries to master the reinforcement magic that Ray uses so effortlessly thanks to her class and skills. Loli watches from the balcony, wondering whether Errol has any idea what a massage actually is. The constant ruckus ends up waking Loli's father, who comes down to the training ground, completely hungover, complaining about the noise, claiming that they don't need to let out the frustration of losing the tournament even before it began in the middle of the night. Loli, however, tells him that they in fact won their match, which was against the current best guild. This grabs his attention, but he thinks that the Black Blade must have sent their rank B or C newbies as cannon fodder. But Loli surprises him even more by saying that all their opponents were a tier, and not only that, but Errol defeated them all on his own without any help. This shocks her dad out of his hangover, as he looks at Errol, bruised and battered, wondering if this kid is really that strong. Loli claims that she made a bunch of bets, and because Errol clean sweeped the enemy team, she hit the jackpot, and now not only are they out of debt, but also have enough money to cover their operating costs. Her dad, however, is not so optimistic, claiming that if by some luck this kid is actually that strong, he would soon get poached by bigger, more influential and richer guilds, so she shouldn't get her hopes high. Loli tells him not to worry about that since she is soon going to marry Errol, which means that they would be bound for life. Errol announces that he is not going to do anything like that, but soon turns his attention towards her father, claiming that Loli might be a thick-headed dip, but at least she is not a loser who gives up on everything. This was a clear dig at Loli's dad, who looks at him dangerously. But Errol doesn't get the hint and continues that he should stop with his moping act and start acting more his age, since he still has one remaining hand and can wield a sword in that hand. This triggers her dad, who immediately grabs Errol by the collar, telling him to avoid speaking on subjects he has no clue about. He tells Errol that a dual-wielding swordsman who can't dual-wield is nothing but a waste of oxygen. Errol claims that he doesn't agree since he himself is a classless swordsman who is still competing and trying to rise in this world. With that, her dad pushes him away and walks back upstairs. Loli and Ray immediately come to Errol's side, asking if he is okay, and Loli apologizes for her dad's behavior while thanking Errol for speaking up. Errol claims that even after losing his arm and being washed up for so long, her dad is still incredibly strong, and it's a waste that he is refusing to use his incredible strength and experience. He thinks to himself about all the cool skills he could learn from a dual-wielding swordsman, and promises to himself that he will motivate Loli's father Rod to take up the sword once again. Loli hears about his bid to learn new skills and suggests that he take on some of the dungeons near the city. Errol is completely oblivious about dungeons, so Ray tells him that dungeons are underground caves where monsters spawn in the hundreds and the entire place is full of traps, making it one of the best places to learn new skills and level up with more real-life battle experience, which would help them during the Sword God Cup. Errol has no idea what she is talking about, so she explains that the city every year hosts a tournament where the best swordsmen in the country participate to show their skills and prove that they are the single best swordsmen in the country. Loli immediately takes out a form and tells Errol to fill it if he wants to participate, but to Ray's horror, he rips it up right in front of them. Ray is confused and asks whether he doesn't want to participate in the contest, but Errol replies that Loli was trying to pull a fast one on him and gives him a marriage certificate to sign instead. The Loli laughs, claiming that she was just testing the waters. But Errol is done being a good boy and grabs her in a rear naked choke to teach her a lesson. The next morning, Errol wakes up to find Loli trying to assault him, but he dodges her and ties her to the bed before leaving. Later that day, they all go towards the dungeons together, where Loli explains that everyone gets to stand in the teleportation circles through which they can teleport to the dungeon level that they want, but you can only go to the levels which you have been to before. Loli claims that she has reached level 12, while Ray has reached 14. Errol immediately decides to go alongside Ray to the 14th level, but Loli claims that it doesn't work that way, and he needs to be physically present at the level to be able to go there again. That was a bummer since Errol wanted to fight the strongest monsters he could find from the outset, but the Loli tells him not to worry as she knows a really short route which will lead them to the lower floors very quickly. They agree to the plan, but Loli tries to get Errol all alone, claiming that Ray can continue her level 14 run since Errol wouldn't need 2 guides, and starts dragging him away. But Errol is not so easily manipulated and asks Ray to come with them. They enter the first floor where they are immediately attacked by 2 knights in armor. Errol draws out his sword and starts clashing with one of them while Ray takes the other one. He is surprised to notice that even after having heavy armors, the knight move with incredible agility, but it's nothing he can't deal with. So he uses his dash step and chops off the knight's head, only to realize that the entire armor is empty and is getting powered by the mana of the dungeon itself. The knight starts moving again even without its head, and Ray claims that they have no real weakness and don't feel pain either. So Errol decides to go for the legs, which works out beautifully as the magic knights collapse on the ground. Ray also deals with her opponent, claiming that they will soon regenerate so they need to move on. Before moving further though, Errol asks Loli what her class is, and she very proudly claims that she is a fencer, and promises to teach him anything he wants, in the training ground or in the bed, but Errol rejects her once again and moves on. Before entering the second level though, they hear cries of help coming from the door, and when they move closer, they find a man covered in blood, kneeling on the floor and begging for help. Ray suggests taking him above ground, but the man refuses, claiming that his friends are still inside and they got badly hurt by a booby trap. He begs them to help rescue his friends, but Loli immediately gets down to business asking for money in return for help. To her surprise, the man even pays her a good sum from the money he won gambling, but Errol senses something wrong. While walking behind the man, he notices that whenever he lost blood like that, he can't even sit on his own without holy water, let alone walk all the way back to a dangerous room. He realizes that the blood and the injuries are completely fake, but decides to keep this information to himself, just because he thinks this might lead to something interesting and fun. The man takes them to a secret room where they find a trail of blood and a puddle in the center with one singular gold coin. The sight of the coin immediately entices Loli, who goes to pick it up. When a teleport circle appears beneath them, Ray realizes that this was a setup, while the man grins at them, claiming that he got paid well to just do such an easy job. But to his surprise, the magic circle teleported him alongside the others. They all emerge on a floor which even Ray has not seen, meaning that it's even lower than the 14th floor, but no signs of strong enemies yet. The guy who pretended to be hurt was shaking from fear, as he stammered that this is supposed to be the lowest floor on the dungeon where the advanced sword god can be found. Suddenly, a knight with rainbow enchanted armor appears in front of them, but Loli refuses to believe the story of the sword god class, which everyone thought was just a myth. Errol, however, realizes the trouble that they are in and immediately pushes Loli down as the sword god sends an aerial slash so strong that it breaks the dungeon walls. Without wasting any time, the sword god attacks Errol, who barely manages to get his sword up in time, blocking the attack even though he gets shoved into the wall. He realizes that he survived that just because of the reinforcement magic training he got from Ray. He tries slashing back at his opponent, but the knight is extremely quick and uses all of the advanced moves to dash back. With that, he smiles, claiming that this is a good opportunity to test himself. This completely shocks his party while he uses the same divine step technique to close the distance and pushes on the attack, hitting the knight with a barrage of strikes which gets blocked. The knight is forced to back off, but uses a skill which causes gravity in the room to increase, forcing the others on the floor. But Errol easily maintains his stance since he has faced the same thing before when he was younger, training against his mom. He used all his strength back then just to be able to stand, so when his mom attacked, he wasn't able to do anything. But this time it's different. He uses the gold coin to nullify the attack, which creates a small opening, and Errol uses it to its full potential, using one of his strongest abilities called Infinite Break. The knight shatters into pieces after that attack, shocking everyone present in the room. He regains his strength with some holy water, and then all of them safely exit the dungeon through the teleportation spell. Back in the bar, Rod was again drinking when he overhears a conversation between three young idiots talking about how they tricked the new members of the Dragon Fang Guild into a trap, and they are most likely never coming back. Rod walks up to them and breaks their table with a single punch, ordering them to reveal everything that they know, but he is interrupted by Jorg, who calls him a good-for-nothing drunkard. Rod immediately realizes that this must have been set up by Jorg, which means the chances of her daughter's survival are slim to none, completely broken. He lunges towards Jorg, but gets pushed aside like a peasant, while he kneels on the ground, wishing he could save his little girl. But a sudden voice from the door catches his attention, and he turns around to see Loli. Alongside Errol and Ray enter the tavern, talking about how hungry they are. Loli notices her dad and the ugly Jorg, but gets surprised when Rod hugs her tightly, thanking God for making sure her daughter was safe. Ray calls Jorg out, claiming that they got all the information out of his crony, who confessed that it was all Jorg's plan, but just like any politician, he straight up refuses to admit it, claiming that everyone is responsible for their own safety in the dungeons, and Errol thinks that it is a valid point. Rod tells Jorg that he won't get away with this, but Jorg simply calls him a drunkard, washed-up piece of trash and moves out of the room.